What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday night show presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar. Just had a fantastic meal there last week. I'm telling you, it is. If you're looking to take somebody from out of town someplace and you want a good vibe that impresses, a great menu with a lot of good things, good beer selection, just a good ambiance, maybe the GM, Kurt, will even come say hi to you like he did for me. Cask & Company and Front 43 is the place for you, just north of Frandor on East Saginaw in Lansing, near the Lansing-East Lansing border. Jason, how you doing, brother? Absolutely. I mean, fucking everybody masturbates.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Oh.
How are you? You know, that is the great thing about going in there, right? Like, if you're bringing friends into town, have someone say, like, oh, yeah, Couch in the Rube. Hey, oh, Graham Couch, look at you. Hey, how you doing? Right? They can't help us out with that? We can't call ahead?
That could be our thing. That could be part of our deal with them.
Right.
Is whoever they bring
make us
in.
Feel important.
Yes, absolutely. You get a personal, a welcoming from whoever's there, who's in charge, either the owner or the GM, something like that. That would be fantastic.
That's all we ask.
You, my friend, were at a concert last night. Saw Queen, huh?
I did, yeah. The wife, she wanted to go. She's a big fan. She's actually going to Chicago in like 2 weeks to see them again. And it was, you know, I'm a Queen fan from back in the day. Freddie Mercury, I love the songs, but the Adam Lambert version I wasn't really familiar with, and I didn't really know much about Brian May, who's an absolute legend, and Roger Taylor. It was just, I mean, any concert you go to of that magnitude is fascinating. The people watching, and I mean, we had unbelievable seats. So yeah, it's great to watch. I know this sounds like hacky, you know, I love my wife stuff, but it's great to see your wife like enjoy something, you know, like I'm going to it. It's not for me, but she's enjoying it.
And there's so little of her life with you that she can enjoy that when she gets these moments, she has to take advantage of them.
That is true. And she did. You want to hear?
Yeah.
To set this up, she sent me an audio clip as she was standing right next to me. So this is it. Oops. Oh. Oh. All right, this is a disaster. Hold on. Let me do it again.
Babe, I swear to fucking God, this beat is so good. I thought Adam Lambert was singing Fat Bottom Girls to me. It was amazing. Oh, fuck. So fucking fantastic. Ah!
So there you go.
That's tremendous.
Sorry,
No,
technical
all right.
problems there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she sent that to me as she was standing right fucking next to me. And I'm like, wait a minute, what do I have an audio clip? So I didn't listen to it until like this afternoon. I'm like, oh yeah, we got to play that. But
No, that's true.
yeah, man, it was, we're very fortunate to go to a lot of great concerts this year. And
I love your
Queen was unbelievable.
I love your photo too of all the people taking video of the whole concert. It's a little ridiculous.
It is. And listen, you spend your money to go to these things. I don't really care what you do. I just have one question. What do you do with all the footage? 2 hours. I'm not even joking. That row that I took a picture of, their phones were up for 2.5 hours. That's how long the concert was. No breaks. I mean, I took that photo and I'm like, shit, I'm missing like Fat Bottom Girls here with the wife. She's texted me. I got people, you know, anyway. But it was a great time. I don't understand why people shoot all of that stuff. If you watch it afterwards, I guess, like how many times? But good times.
Yeah, no, I think you should try to live in the moment. And I'm not saying if you got a favorite song that you want to have recorded or something. I get that, but
it's hard to tell someone that spends that much money. You know,
how to do it.
Yeah, it's like fine. Go tell me to go fuck myself. But you understand we have questions.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
So a fair bit to get into today. I wouldn't say per request, but we have the great Joe Rexrode. People are real happy with.
He's here to explain himself.
Yeah, we thought we'd have Pat Narduzzi with him, but did not. No, Joe will be good. I love talking to Joe. Obviously, a great friend, but we'll get into that. His thoughts on Urban Meyer, who
69 sesh. Prepare yourself. Not as much as BQ, Brendan Quinn, but I'm sure it'll be great.
Can you imagine the three-way if those two are in here together?
Man.
Jesus,
good Lord.
Yeah, it'd be rough.
Yeah, get a tarp.
It'll be fun to talk to him. I did a column today on the MSU football situation that went up this morning, and the situation, I call it that. But I'm
going to be honest. I just hit like on it. I haven't read it yet, so I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay, no, that's fair.
I just hit like blindly.
I appreciate you liking it, though. It does boost my confidence when I see you've liked it. I'm like, oh, Jason's in.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
No, seriously, it means a lot. Oh. But no, it was about the coaching search and these pivotal 2 months and what's important there, and about Urban Meyer, and about the NIL collective situation, which I think is an issue that needs to be remedied, and it's going to have to rebranded because you can't come back from that as ST4L. But the thing I keep thinking now about the Urban Meyer coaching search storyline, because I just did a Spartan Speak podcast too with Solari today, and we got into that. It's going to be the college football local MSU equivalent of Damian Lillard and NBA podcasts this summer, where because there's such a large runway, and very few coaching searches in college football, you have a situation where after game 2, the coach is fired, and you have 2.5 months of this stuff. And then you have a situation with an out-of-work coach that everybody kind of wants. And so he's available and a somewhat obvious target. I don't want to say obvious because a lot of people don't want him, but you know what I mean. Like, he is available. And this storyline was bound to come up. And it's going to be weird. I'm thankful for MSU basketball that there's going to be other things to talk about, because I do think in lieu of other clear candidates, and I don't think we'll have obvious ones for a month or even momentum towards somebody else, that's just going to become a story. And it's going to be one that we're constantly talking about and people are constantly asking about. And I think that's okay. I mean, people care about MSU football. And
but if there's no updates, how are you going to sit there and talk about it?
Right. Here's
ad nauseum.
Here's what we know. I mean, Matt Ishbia would be delighted with that hire. And I'm not saying Matt Ishbia is Joel Ferguson.
Oof.
Well, no, I mean, there were things with Joel in his heyday was an influential guy at Michigan State, but they did not make him part of the D'Antonio search really at all. They kind of kept him away from meddling in that, and he was a guy who used to have a lot of influence. What I'm saying is his decisions weren't always right just because he had influence. And Matt Ishbia can't be a donor-led school. It doesn't mean Ishbia shouldn't have influence to some degree. It doesn't mean he won't be right some of the time. It doesn't mean his dollars can't help make some things happen and aren't important. I think he, Greg Williams, Steve St. Andre, all those guys are really important to the university. But it's you also as a university have to think independently of them about what's best for you. And it'll be interesting to see whether if Michigan State decided to go down that road, whether the Board of Trustees would even be okay with Urban Meyer. I don't know that they would.
Does anyone give a shit what they think, though?
Well, they ultimately have to approve it. Yeah, I mean, there's that.
Still.
they do have to approve it. We'll get into that with Joe in a little bit shortly in the search. Then we're going to have Harry on, and we're going to talk our picks for this weekend. I think Michigan State's going to beat Rutgers.
Yeah,
I've just got this vibe. The line, by the way, is moving toward Michigan State. It's moved a full point, which is kind of weird. Only 3 guys have jumped in the portal. Like, I'm sort of impressed with Michigan State's players and staff in the fact that it's stayed on the rails the way it has to this point. Now, there will be other guys who may get in the portal as this month goes along, as guys come up against the decision whether to play in their 4th game, as another loss piles up, or something happens. But given that getting off the plane at Iowa, they find out a lot of those guys lost their deal with ST4L, the deal that they thought they had concretely, the NIL deal, and that bothered them. I mean, they felt like they're out there alone a little bit here. I mean, that sent a message. That's a problem for Michigan State. They're going to have to get that corrected. They're going to have to rebrand. It's going to hurt them in recruiting. It's going to hurt them in retention. They're going to have to make sure they're on track to have something in place as they try to hire a new coach. But the fact that so many guys have stuck together, They talked about great practices this week. They young players like, Jordan Hall, Chance Rucker, who are freshman starters, talking about being all in on the season. Like, I don't know where they'll go after the season, but I am impressed by how it stayed together. I think Rutgers quarterback sucks. I think Caton Hauser will start. I don't know what that'll mean. So, obviously, if he turns the ball over a ton and he's not as, doesn't get some things going against a decent Rutgers defense, it could be a problem. But my gut is they beat Rutgers.
And it's an obvious fade, right? I mean, you shouldn't be betting on this game.
No.
But Rutgers, I mean, how are they 4-2? Even when Rutgers scored 52 points against Wagner, I mean, you look at the box score and you're like, what? How did they – what?
Their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay.
If they had a quarterback who could throw the ball, I mean, it's one of those games where you put a couple spies and – or
spite bet coming for this one, though.
Why is that?
First half picks.
Yes. No, I
6.
Last week, man, I had Rutgers against Wisconsin, put that out there. And I think they did cover the overall spread, but
they did.
The money line – That pick six. I mean, you and I would not have thrown that pass. That was a bad pass for a guy who's been around college football for a little while.
I mean, we do say that just sitting in a studio and not a stadium full of people.
Right.
Probably
but as somebody who's played
in the air,
somebody who's playing some Thanksgiving front yard football games at my Uncle Bruce's, like I would not have let my Aunt Claudia intercept that pass. I would have not thrown it. I would have tucked and run. And taken out my Aunt Prudy, and scored the touchdown. Right, so obviously apples to apples. The one other thing I want to get into before we get to Joe here is, and we'll do a Groovy Donut Twitter question show Thursday night, and so I can answer some of this then. But I've been asked a lot about Audrey Dahlgren, the friend of mine and the sports director, former sports director at Channel 6 WLNS here in Lansing, who was let go. After a couple of her tweets or 4 her tweets.
Unbelievable.
About Brenda Tracy and Mel Tucker and whatnot. And I just want to, I don't want to get into everything with that because I have some feelings. I don't think she should have been fired. I think it's a reminder that corporate doesn't have your back. I do think she crossed the line, but there are ways to handle that for somebody who's done as much for them and as good as she was for them. And I think the thing that sucks is losing her is a loss for our community. Like getting somebody as good as her to stick around because she was local, she turned down bigger offers to stay. I'm not saying she didn't deserve some level of discipline. I'm not saying the tweets were okay, but there are ways to do it. It's a reminder to me not to tweet when I'm drunk because corporate never has your back. So I'm going to put a breathalyzer on my phone.
You're not saying she was drunk.
No, what I mean is the time that I would geez, we'll fix that in post. Holy shit. Thank you. I'm glad you're here because I should just shut the fuck up. I mean, that's
which one of us is high. And
yeah, no, isn't. I'm sorry. I feel bad for Audrey though, and it's not that and I don't know the whole story, and I if I were there were issues with the fact that they do the coaches show, and that's like a paid advertisement show that any of their reporters who do that should be covering a serious issue when they have that relationship with the university. There are lots of things you could look at, and that in that sense, their management is culpable in this. But I feel bad for her. I feel bad for our community, and I hope, and I think she's a talented person, and that she'll bounce back from
our
this.
community. Man, that's dramatic. I
Well,
mean, it's absolutely
she's good.
Absolutely, and I think Channel 6 did her a favor. I mean, get out of local TV, Audrey. Screw it. It's awful. It's complete ass. She was doing so many different jobs at Channel 6, probably not getting paid what she should have been paid, and she made a couple tweets. I mean, I just hate this time where she even tried walking it back, apologize. We can't apologize anymore. I don't know.
I didn't like the people
step out of bounds.
The
just
people
a little
were
bit.
dunking on her as well. I didn't like that as either.
The Jacoby guy and all. Yeah, the quote.
Well,
tweeting.
he's done good stuff, but yeah, I didn't like that. I don't like when national people come in and look.
Be better. I want to strangle someone when they say that. Be better.
Anyway, so if you have more questions on that, we can do them to some extent in the Groovy Donut Twitter question show on Thursday night. But let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk to Joe Rexrode about MSU football, about his column, Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Front 43 in Cask & Company.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar. Pleased now to be joined by my friend and former Michigan State beat writer for a long time for the Lansing State Journal and then Detroit Free Press, now columnist with The Athletic and The Athletic Nashville, Joe Rexrode. Joe, how you doing, brother?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. I'm glad you're still. I'm glad you're still up. I know you've got radio at 6 a.m. I worried this would be past your bedtime.
It is. It's getting there. I will tell you. Now I try to do 8:30. It usually doesn't work out. I also it's just the dogs and me now. Like everyone else is gone. So
what, they leave you?
Go. What? I've got a, let's see, Katie and daughter at the beach. This is fall break. They do fall break here. It's like this big thing. It's like bigger than spring break. So they're at the beach, like in, the Panhandle. I mean, obviously my oldest is at Michigan State, and then we shipped off Brennan, the middle child, to Virginia. No beach for him, but he can go hang out with my mom and my siblings, and I can just wash my hands of him for a few. He's going to the Lions-Bucs game, though, on Sunday. So he's got like a Jahmyr Gibbs jersey, and I've tried to save him from believing that the Lions will ever win anything, but it hasn't worked.
I know Brennan can be a handful, but I'm a big fan of his. So I hope his Lions fandom goes better than the rest of ours has for decades.
Forever.
Yeah. Well, that's I've tried to talk to Jason about the idea of doing this show at 6 a.m. and he's never really
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Never really
let Joe do it.
I still hate it.
All right. Well, I wanted to have you. You called me the other day and told me you were going to weigh in. And my first thought on the Michigan State coaching search and all that was going on in Urban Meyer, my first thought was, oh shit, here comes White Knight Rexrode. He's going to steal all the readers are going to love him again. They're going to think, God, why do we ever, this chode couch? Why are we stuck with him? This whole but you managed to piss off people. So thank you for that. You
Sure.
did a good job. And I wanted to get your sense of is somebody who covered what I would say is Camelot for Michigan State, and since you've left, it's fallen apart in various ways. But your what were your initial thoughts watching the sort of the Mel Tucker situation hit?
Well, first of all, I mean, I think obviously, whenever anything happens, of course, I'm always immediately bothering you, bothering Solari, et cetera, et cetera. I guess no more Charbonneau. He's off the grid now. But one of my thoughts was I had heard some things on those lines that were totally unrelated to this, that were related to a different job previously from someone totally, and it was just out of left field that I heard this story, and it was kind of like, oh, geez, which I'm not going to elaborate on because I probably already said more than I should now anyway. But
we've all been there.
But like it was like, oh, okay, so that kind of lines up with that. But it just, I mean, mainly I was just like stunned that that you wouldn't recognize that, like, of all, no matter what happened, because I know there's going to be more crap flying around, but no matter what happened, that you wouldn't recognize that this is an absolute non-starter. Like, just, you know, I mean, it's like, it just,
yeah.
There's just no reason to. It's just mind-boggling.
Pick a different woman, like any woman in the world, maybe, and you might have been okay.
Just about.
Yeah.
Just about. Right. So, but also, you know, my thought was like, my goodness, has this program just gone through a load of crap since I left? But like, that's one thing you talk about, like fans and, you know, pissing them off, or people, you know, having warm feelings about me. I mean, sometimes people will be like, you know, things were great when you covered Michigan State. I'm like, by the way, I also wrote about Bobby and John L. So let's also remember that, okay? There's been a lot of bad, and, you know, frankly, I mean, that D'Antonio run, to me, was, I still think, an incredible job of college football coaching, and it's also going to be hard to emulate.
Okay, let's get into your column then, because that was the headline of it and the gist of it, in a sense, that's what Michigan State needs to look to here. Not D'Antonio per se, but somebody of his ilk, somebody who comes in and is a stabilizing force and builds a program and comes in with a, sort of a clean background and sets a culture in place and does that again. And then it was that at all costs, or any cost, stay away from Urban Meyer. Do you I understand the allure of Urban Meyer for people, and I don't know, like, to me, you want to hire Urban Meyer 20 years ago. That was the time to get him instead of John L. Smith, or even after Utah. You want to get Kalen DeBoer before he goes to Washington when he's at Fresno. Like, that's right. The job, to figure out that next guy.
Yes.
But Urban Meyer to you is like a non-starter completely.
Yeah, and it's twofold. First of all, and you may disagree with me, and I got a lot of, you know what, shut up, you've been away for 7 years, get out of here, you don't know what this place is. But
that was my burner account, by the way, sorry.
Well, you've got a lot of them then. Yeah, and I also got a lot of like, oh, well, then, Robert Anderson at Michigan, and why does everything they do ever come back to them when you relate things back to Larry Nassar? But I'm sorry, like, I just don't see how you don't look at things differently as an institution when you've gone through that. I don't see how it's so difficult to hire someone who doesn't have smudges like Urban Meyer does. Like, it really isn't. Like, there aren't that many people who, and I understand that, like, I had this to, like, okay, so find anybody who's just completely no issues or whatever. Like, yeah, but you can find most people who don't have Urban Meyer's issues, and it's a variety. I mean, like, you can't just discount what happened at Jacksonville because it's the NFL. It's also human behavior, right?
Yeah.
Like, does that not count? Because he was in the NFL, that awful human behavior doesn't count in college football? I mean, I just think – so there's that. But also, I really feel strongly that he absolutely would not win at Michigan State. So a few things there. One is, like, I did this story on him, and I try to put this in the comments of my column at The Athletic, but, I did this story on him. I spent a lot of time on this story during COVID. I guess it would have been, right? Was it during COVID? It was either – maybe it was 21. It was kind of coming out of COVID. But anyway, I mean, I talked to, like, a lot of people. including some people who weren't quoted in the story. Like, you and I both know a lot of Ohio State media guys, stuff like that, right? And I got Urban, and he was great, and it was a really interesting story about what he did in that first year. And the point of writing the story is because I covered Mike Vrabel, and he was not going to hire Vrabel, and Vrabel had to beg for a second interview. It's a really interesting story. But one thing that really came through in reading it, you can see it, but you know how it is. Like, you use 10% of what you get. Is like he was unbearable for people, and it worked, but he was unbearable for both the kids and the staffers. And believe me, there's some feelings left over from that. I know from some staffers, but even talking to some guys who played, it was especially people who played for Jim Tressel, they love that guy still. There's appreciation for Urban Meyer for basically making it it was every day proved that you should still be here. I mean, look, I can't argue with Urban Meyer's results, okay? But I don't think that works well now. And I know an answer to me there, and I heard this a lot, is, so you think this D'Antonio build a culture program, think that works today with NIL and all that stuff? I do. I think that treating people well and being a good person can work in this and in any business. And Urban Meyer has not had to recruit at a place where you didn't just switch from one 5-star to the other 5-star if you don't get the first 5-star. Since he was at Utah in 2005. He's 60 years old. It's over. He's not winning anymore. It's not working anymore. And frankly, we're part of that too, Graham, because the negativity that I'm already spewing out about him, just wait to see if he got hired at Michigan State or somewhere. And it doesn't help you. So I think his time has passed. Les Miles at Kansas, to me, is the perfect, and I understand Michigan State has a lot more going for it with football than Kansas, but it's, to me, a perfect example. Les Miles, look at all the winning he did. Yeah. LSU, and believe me, NIL was still running full steam. It just wasn't called NIL, and now he's at Kansas trying to recruit at Kansas. I just think it would be a disaster. So on two fronts, but
no, those are really good points. And good, there's a good insight into, It's sometimes those conversations about people who covered him, people who played for him, and you get a sense of things. I do think he was a better coach than Les Miles. I thought Les Miles was a shit coach at LSU at the end too. I didn't, and he has, I agree. And he has won everywhere. And I think there's this too. I think one of the things that's happening right now is that Michigan State's rivals are at a all-time high. Michigan's the best it's been in 25 years. Ohio State is still pretty much at its peak. Penn State's up there. They're bringing in Oregon, Washington, USC, and there is a sense of worry that their place will be somewhere well beneath that. And I think that is, and you got into that in your piece as well. And so I think that is different than when D'Antonio took over, and nobody would catch the attention and probably scare Michigan fans more than an Urban Meyer hire at Michigan State. And I think there's a part of that that's built in. I also think it's the way this has gone down. It's what Ishbia wants. It's what maybe a couple donors want. That leads into some people who are tied to them really promoting that, which feeds into the overall fan base. And all of a sudden, this is what must be. I think there are fewer people than what it seems on Twitter who really, really want him. I could be talked into him, but I think he would have to want MSU so badly. It can't be MSU chasing him. And he would have to explain why he wanted this job and why he was a good fit for it. And it couldn't be a celebration when they hired him. It should be, a guy who takes some ownership of things, a guy who's trying to do one last great thing in his legacy and sees this as a reason. And if he really wants the job, I think he would have an opportunity to talk himself into it. I just don't see that as a very likely thing to actually happen. I
will one thing real quick, Graham. You're right about Michigan, but don't forget. The fall that D'Antonio was hired, it was number 1 Michigan, number 2 Ohio State, or whichever one it was,
right.
one and 2 playing, and they were. I mean, they were the national championship favorite, at least by some people, going into that 2007 season when they lost to App State. Remember? They were
absolutely
at least some. So and then he leaves, and Harbaugh to the NFL could happen anytime too. I'm just saying, like things like that can change quickly.
The one I have to give you shit for because I'm obligated to do so is the Pat Narduzzi bring up.
I'm so in. I'm up for this. Let's do it.
All right. Give me the Pat Narduzzi pitch in 2023.
Yeah, look, I understand that. I think that actually angered people more than
it did.
No, Urban Meyer. Like there were more people. Like there were plenty of people who were like, I'm with you on no Urban, but freaking Narduzzi, are you shitting me? And I'm like,
there are protests in the streets here. Yes, yeah.
All right. So first of all, yes, I am a fan of Pat Narduzzi. Okay, like is there some like personally am I? Yes. Like it was great covering him. So that should be. Maybe I should have written that in the column too. Like I like Pat a lot, so I think a lot of him. But listen, right now it's a dreadful situation. They freaking get a quarterback out of the portal, and it's like, actually, how about be a tight end?
You're talking about Pitt right now, yeah.
I'm talking about Pitt.
Yeah.
And his OC hires have not been good. I have been disappointed in how, offensively, I always thought he kind of didn't like Michigan State's offense, and he wanted that to be a little bit more cutting edge. And it's funny, I think that there were times that he was a little bit underwhelmed, let's say, by what was going on the other side of the ball. I mean, at certain points, that was totally understandable. So I am disappointed in what their offense has become. But let's also remember 2 years ago, and I covered Pitt playing Tennessee the last couple of years, so I got to kind of catch up with them again and cover those games. They were freaking good, man. They were really freaking good because they had a quarterback and they had a receiver. He has an eye for talent, and it was not that long ago that they were playing Michigan State in the Peach Bowl, and whatever, he's down to his third quarterback or whatever. Everybody acts like this awful football this year is what has been trotted out year after year. Dude, that place is a dead zone. And I understand the ACC is easier than the Big Ten. No one gives a crap about Pitt football. No one. I went to the Pitt-Tennessee game last fall. I thought it was close to 50-50, but there's no way it was more than 60-40 Pitt, and there were empty seats all through the stadium. This is like a ranked game, like ABC 330 game or whatever, and it's like no one gives it. No one cares at all. And on top of that, now look, he's 57, so if I'm going to rip Urban for being 60 or whatever, then all right, well, Pat's something. And I'm not saying he's my number one candidate, but I do think that it should be considered. When he was think about D'Antonio and his success. Yes, we all covered the 2015 team the year after Narduzzi left, but my God, did it go south from there. And I don't think it's a coincidence at all in terms of Narduzzi's ability. I mean, the evaluation of players, the recruiting juice that he had at Michigan State. I mean, he was the star of D'Antonio's staff. He deserves a ton of credit for those great years. And as soon as he leaves, and he hated the Curtis Blackwell hire, and we know all that crap. But yeah, I think he should be given serious consideration. I'm not saying he's my favorite.
Yeah, in hindsight, it would no. Well, in hindsight, if he had, when they hired Mel, if they'd hired him, and I think he would have come then. That it might have worked, and it was obviously a different time, pre-NIL, pre-transfer portal. Well, I guess the transfer portal was sort of taking place. I am not. Narduzzi does not make me enthusiastic the way he does. Maybe you, but I am not anti the man getting a look and getting an interview. And I think one of the things I am big on this hire is trusting the interview. Like when you hear the stories to this day about Mark D'Antonio's interview, about Nick Saban's interview, the people who were in the room will tell you they knew the moment those guys started talking, just how impressive they were. That is the next head coach. There was just no doubt about it with either guy. And I think a lot of times, you can think something of one person, you can talk to them a little over the phone, but when they have a chance to present themselves to you, why they should be the person, you can sometimes hear something that really connects. And I wouldn't be, fully opposed to the idea of Pat Narduzzi getting that opportunity to do that and fully connect and explain why. I don't, as you said, not the top candidate. I can think of other people who just peripherally would be more appealing to me. I think it's tough to and I understand Pitt has its challenges. There hasn't been the consistent winning there. I think one of the things you brought up that I've thought of as well, you and I think, had talked about this. The idea that when he went to Pitt, I thought, well, let's see what he does with the offensive side of the ball. That'll get interesting because I don't think he loved it all the time. It really hasn't always been a something that's been a staple of what they've done. But it hasn't gone well all the time on the offensive side of the ball. And I just don't think he's been as impressive as the person you want to hire to launch the next era of the program. And I think there are people out there who are probably more so. But I'm also aware that MSU could get to the point where, especially if he really wanted the job and he interviewed well, he might be your best option.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like there's one on one side. It's like this idea of trying to recreate. I mean, even like the headline of the thing I wrote, like another D'Antonio. Well, the point just being that like you just want someone who gets it and has a plan, and has a brand of football that can work. But no, I mean, I think those concerns are fair. Well, who right now? Who do you think would be if you were putting together? You're the AD. You're Alan Haller. Your top of your list is who?
Yeah, who I'm looking at, and they're the sort of obvious. The Elko. I want to talk to him. I want to talk to Mike Elko. I want to talk to the guy at Washington State. I'm intrigued by him. Right. I want to see what he is. I want to look at everybody likes Charles Huff. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's somebody. There's the coach at South Alabama. Is it South Alabama? Do I have that right? There are a couple of Power 5 coaches that I think are somewhat impressive, and I would like, or a group of 5 coaches that I would like to talk to. I think Hartline at Ohio State is certainly intriguing. You talk about guys who are stars of staffs like Narduzzi was at Michigan State. Is Mark Stoops somebody who could do? Is he like a better version of Narduzzi in terms of fit and could get more out of MSU than he can get out of Kentucky? Maybe, and would he be willing to make a move once in his career? I don't know. And I don't know whether they're willing to pay more than the $8.5 million he's getting there. But I do think those are people that I would look at. And then part of this job, when you have this kind of runway, if you're Alan Haller, is talking to a lot of people and getting names from people of, this, you ought to look at this guy here. Talk to this guy, evaluate this guy. This guy's impressive. And so I would like to think, because the names I've just named are what many people have on their list, are fairly obvious names. I would like to think there are 3 or 4 candidates who are a little more off the radar who could also be home run hires if you can just unearth them. Yeah,
no, for sure. I mean, like I think when the search started in 2006, like D'Antonio was a fringe mention. Like he was like D'Antonio was like way down the list from like Ron English, for example. I mean, like there are a lot of names before him just publicly, like what that immediately came to mind. So no, absolutely, and you hope somebody emerges. I mean, I like those names. I really like Leopold too. I know he's also older.
The Kansas coach, Lance Leopold. Yeah.
I think what he's done there is really impressive. So
no, it is.
But yeah, give Doozy a chance. That's all I'm saying. I understand how things. I mean, I don't know if you thought like Harlan Barnett had a shot. I guess if it went incredibly well, right on the field this year, and I'm sure I feel like there's a certain.
You mean Mel Tucker had a shot? What are you talking about? What's?
No,
Harlan Barnett. I see. I see. Yeah. No, I mean with Harlan Barnett, it would have to have been, and frankly, could still be. I mean, they have. If Harlan Barnett, if they go out and beat Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, which isn't going to happen, or they beat 2 of the 3 and win 8 games, he's going to have to be interviewed. You'd be like, holy crap! Well, maybe the staff is something that needs to stick around. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, I'm sure at night in his dreams, it's like, boy, wouldn't that be something? I like him a lot personally. It's just not going to be the. It's just not going to be what is. Man, I appreciate you staying up till midnight your time, and
no,
and enjoy bachelor life as best you can this week. So, I will.
Yeah, maybe. Thanks, man. Maybe I should go to the bar. You know,
only good things can happen after.
Hour.
Yeah, only good things can happen. All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
That's the great Joe Rexrode from The Athletic, formerly the Lansing State Journal, and the Freep. And, yeah, I mean, Narduzzi. Yeah, he's just not going to excite people. And I get what he's saying, and I understand he was the star of that staff. And
so what? If it were a different time, I think maybe you could have Pat Narduzzi. But if you hire Pat Narduzzi right now, there's going to be a collective thud within the fan base.
There would be a groan.
Unfortunately.
There would be a groan. And it would be hard, And you
got to hit. Maybe if you can't hit a home run, you got to hit it to the warning track. And I don't know if Narduzzi is even warning track.
Because to me, you'd have to sell Narduzzi in different ways, but you'd have to sell him harder than you'd have to sell Urban Meyer, for different reasons. But it'd be like, why is this?
So why bring him in? It's like you guys were you should give him a shot.
No, I'm not.
Well, Joe was. It's like you should hear him out or hear his position. It's like you're not going to hire him, so don't waste the resources and time. Let's just get this shit moving.
And the one thing I'll say for Alan Haller and his relationship with Narduzzi is he's been around a long time. He knows Pat. He knows some of these coaches. I've had conversations with Alan Haller about other candidates, like in the Mel Tucker era, where there are guys that people thought, oh, that guy's interesting. And he's like, yeah, he just doesn't have the experience yet, or this wouldn't work at the college level, or, just doesn't. Like, he knows him from a football standpoint differently. So maybe there's that. But I would find it very unlikely.
He's like, man, getting up early has to be ass. He's like, oh, yeah, I hate it. So when people tune in tomorrow morning, you just know Rexrode's like, oh, God.
Sometimes when I wake up and he's still doing the show and they're like in the third hour, they're
totally check in on that. Yeah, I follow it on Twitter too. And I see that. I'm like, I just want to hear what people sound like at 7 a.m. trying to talk sports and be somewhat interesting. But.
Oh man, I'm glad we don't do that early. Anyway, we are going to have Harry on next. We will pick our games. Couch in the Rube, presented by Front 43 and Cask and Company.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Visit firekeeperscasino.com to download the mobile app today. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar. It is time to pick the games, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. And to do that, of course, we have the great Harry Gagnon from The Ringer, from Against All Odds with Cousin Sal, the great cartoon video star himself. Harry Gagnon, how you doing, sir?
What's up, boys? How's everything?
Doing well. And
Go Lions, restore the roar.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
When started the whole Lions thing, by the way.
You did.
Yeah, let's give him credit.
It doesn't get old either, It doesn't get old.
It really doesn't.
If they win the Super Bowl,
especially when you're putting up 42 a game, right?
Yeah, no,
last week.
No complaints to this point. I don't think any of us have. I mean, other than the one game they should have won, but you're getting greedy. I think the danger for a Lions fan right now is to get greedy. Just take what's there.
and you know what, too? You watch these ESPN shows and you listen to everybody talk and this whatever. And I know San Francisco's going at everybody and they're scoring 30-plus every game. And they are the most dominant team in the NFL, no doubt. And then also people want to give Philadelphia credit. Super Bowl last year, Jalen Hurts, and they're undefeated. It's okay where the Lions are. Let the Lions be under the radar, even though some people are still on. Just let's not talk about the Lions being the best team in the NFC or the second best. Let's just let them be where they're at. Let Philly win their games. I think Philly's going to go 8-0 to start the season because the schedule's pretty easy. And San Francisco rolling. Just let the Lions lay there, Let them lay.
I do. One of the things
I say, let's talk shit. Let's go. I'm on it.
Or that.
I do love that the Lions are at least I love that there's and I think San Francisco's probably better than Philadelphia. The college games, the game of the week nationally, Michigan State plus 4.5 at Rutgers. That line is moved down from 5.5 to 4.5. I got to tell you guys, I teased this earlier. I'm on MSU, and I wouldn't tell people to bet this game like as an advice thing, because I think knowing what you're going to have with a new quarterback, you just don't know what that's going to be with Caton Hauser, and you never know where MSU's heads are going to be. Although I think they're in a decent place right now. I think their value is probably a little bit on the sprinkle on the money line, though. Is like. Can you like plus 175 or wherever you can get it right around there, throwing a little there if you're going to do it more than the plus 4.5. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, I don't know about the money line, but yeah, Harry, we were talking about it at the beginning of the show. I said I don't understand how Rutgers is 4-2. I'm not really confident in Michigan State. It'll be a fade for me, but for our picks here, give me MSU and the points. What do you got?
Oh boy, last week they hung with Iowa until late. I don't know. I just think I know. Rutgers has 4 wins. They have put up some points. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I'm gonna go Rutgers
here. If Rutgers had a different quarterback, by the way, I think Rutgers' defense is legit decent, and I think they're just so one dimensional. He's a dangerous runner, and he makes it. He's got some okay numbers in the passing game, but when you need him to make a throw, he can't do it. And I think Michigan State's defense is good enough to turn them over.
And hanging with Iowa, is that impressive now, or?
Well, they blew it.
I know. I know what you're saying. But.
Different team, though. Different team with a different quarterback. And part of the reason they lost that game was the mistakes they made at the end. And if they can't get anything more on offense going, then and if they turn the ball over like that, Michigan State's screwed every week. So it really doesn't make a difference. All right, Indiana plus 33.5 at Michigan. This is a big number. It's a sleepy noon start game. I know Fox wants to say big noon, but big noon is also sleepy noon. So fuck Fox with that. Sorry, I'll never get over that. It's just going to drive me nuts forever. I'll be like on my deathbed. And another thing about Big Noon.
As Elizabeth puts the pillow over your head.
Yeah. By the way, and that's like 7 years from now. Indiana is so bad to me, though. Their offense is so bad that even if this is methodical, even if Michigan gets off to a start that's like 14-0 at the half, they've worn teams down. They've been covering this number. I think Michigan's going to win by 40+ against Indiana. I think Indiana's defense will wear down. Give me Michigan here. The half scares me a little bit, but I certainly wouldn't take Indiana. Where are you, Jason?
Yeah, I see like a 43-0 kind of game. Michigan rolls. I'm not really scared of the 33.5. What about you, Harry?
Me neither. I mean, this Michigan team, out of everybody, they just every single week they do the same thing. They just dominate. They play defense. They could have covered those games to start the season. They just whatever. They just once they put up 35, they were fine with it. This team is on a mission, and I think they roll again big time. I agree with you, Jay.
All right, the next game is actually a really great game, and this is a game that I'm looking forward to seeing. I believe this is at night, right? Oregon Washington is at night. Let me double check.
3:30.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Afternoon.
I mean, it's just. I mean, it sucks because the Michigan State game's at noon. It would be, anyway, it'd be why I'm writing. But
we'll give them a call and see if we can work around your schedule.
Thanks. These are two great teams. Obviously, Washington's. It's pretty much a pick 'em here. Oregon's plus 2.5 because they're on the road. If anything, Oregon is slightly favored here on a neutral field. We all saw Washington up close. I've seen them a little bit. They got a little bit of push by Arizona, who's better than people think. Oregon's been absolutely fantastic, and I believe Oregon is coming off a bye as well. But my eyes have seen Washington, and I think they're the more prolific passing game. They're at home in a stadium that will be an absolute hornet's nest, and I'll under a field goal here, give me Washington. But I more want to enjoy this than bet it. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, I was thinking in Bo Nix we trust when I first saw this game, but I just can't do it. After you just about the home field advantage too, and it's 2.5. Give me the Huskies. What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm on the Huskies too. I know. Look, Oregon has one heck of an offense, and Bo Nix has put up solid numbers last year and this year. I think 15 touchdowns, just one interception. But Michael Penix Jr., Just give me that guy. He's already at 2,000 yards. This team was number one offensively in the passing game last year. As of right now, they're number one in the passing game this year in the NCAA. They're number one in overall yards. And I just think they have too many weapons here. They trip up Oregon, and they keep rolling. Michael Penix. Remember, guys, a couple of years ago when he was in Indiana, he threw before he got hurt. He threw for 5 touchdowns in the horseshoe against Ohio State one day. So give me Penix, give me Washington. I think they're the better team overall.
All right, a game that people are much less excited about, Iowa, plus 10 at Wisconsin, but a true Big Ten battle. Fox 4 o'clock game. They must have baseball earlier or something because that doesn't sound big enough for that time slot doesn't sound big enough for this game. This is a really tough line because I do think this is about right. Like Iowa is playing with a quarterback who probably isn't a Big Ten caliber quarterback. Their offense isn't very good. They're on the road at Wisconsin, but I also don't think Wisconsin is an overwhelming team. Like this line feels right. I'm going to go with the home team here. I would not bet it. Jason, where are you?
The 1-800-GAMBLER Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? I'm with you. This line is too accurate for me. Give me Iowa and the 10. What do you got, Harry?
Well, I got to say, guys, Graham, for all the times Jason busts your chops about, when you're starting to talk about soccer and then he acts like, he's falling. Maybe he is, maybe he's not acting. Maybe he's really falling asleep when you start talking soccer.
I'm not that good.
This game had snoozer written all over it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to take the points here just because I think it's going to be low scoring. I'm going to take the points.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I'm actually
this thing has 15-9 written all over it to me.
Well, and I just can't imagine unless you live in Iowa or in Wisconsin, watching this game at the same time as Oregon Washington. Like it to be.
2 TVs.
It doesn't make sense, and I just can't. I don't even know what channel the Oregon Washington game's on, but you find a way to watch. You find a way to watch that for sure. All right, Arkansas plus 20 at Alabama. I put this in here because I really like Arkansas on this line. I know they're not a great team. They've had some hiccups, but they played decent teams tough as well. And Alabama does not run away from people right now. 20 points for this Alabama team against a team that physically I think is competitive with them in the trenches. Give me Arkansas to cover this. I thought about even a sprinkle on the money line just because it's so large, but I don't think I'll do that. But I like Arkansas here quite a bit at plus 20. Jason, where are you?
I will admit I've lost a lot of money on the Arkansas Razorbacks over the past 2 seasons. But if you're giving me 20, it's more about Alabama for me, Harry. And KJ Jefferson, I know you're a fan. I'm a fan. And you get 20 points on top of it. Not super excited, but give me Arkansas plus 20. What do you got?
Yeah, big game like last week for Alabama. Nice win for them on the road. I'm going to take I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to go against you. I'm going to take Bama here. Now, I think they maybe start to roll a little bit. I know they haven't been rolling teams. They haven't been putting up a lot of points. But I think, Arkansas has given up some big games and given up a lot of points in some of these games. They lost to BYU, gave up 30, gave up 34 to LSU, played tough in that game. But I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about Saban and Alabama. Maybe they start rolling now. I'm going to lay the big number here.
All right. Game of also sort of interest, and I think a game that'll the loser of this game, their season will maybe go south a little bit. We'll see. USC plus 3 at Notre Dame. I know USC's defense is horrid, but I've lost faith in Notre Dame, and I think USC as an underdog is actually a nice play. I'll take Caleb Williams. I'll take the Trojans on the road getting points plus 3. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, USC 0-3 against the spread the last 3, but I'm with you. If you're going to give me Caleb Williams and 3 points, even though it's at Notre Dame, I like it. What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards it too. I mean, USC giving up 82 points in the last 2 games, but this is a lot. You don't see this happen like this part of the season where Notre Dame is facing their 4th straight undefeated team. 4th straight. They've had to go on the road a couple of weeks. They laid a total egg last week against Louisville. Hartman threw for 3 picks. Yeah, I'm gonna. Even though I don't like that USC defense whatsoever, I think you got to lean towards the Trojans here.
All right, to the NFL, the Thursday night game, Broncos at Chiefs. Don't know if Travis Kelce's playing. That's a problem. I probably would have cut this game out of here just when I went to realize that. And that because I do think he matters to them. Now, the Broncos' defense is horrendous. The Thursday night games are always wonky. I just wanted to have the Thursday night play in here because it's the Thursday night game. Everybody's going to take the Chiefs here, so I'm going to zag, and I don't want to watch and root for the Broncos, though. But I'm going to take the Broncos for our purposes. I think 10. My guess is they rest Kelce, given the short week of rest, the short week, and then they get the extra time. And I think that makes a big difference for them. I think we saw that against Detroit. That's on the road, though. Fuck it, I'm going with the Chiefs. I cannot root for this Broncos team. My dislike for Russell Wilson is too severe. I'm going with the Chiefs just out of – I would not bet this game, clearly. Jason, where are you?
I just hope Taylor Swift's there. Harry, what do you got? No, I'm just kidding. Some books have this at 10.5. Kelce, questionable. I got to say, I kind of love the Broncos in this spot, especially if you can get it at 10.5. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I look on X at AAO Harry. My cartoon is out. I'll retweet it again tomorrow morning. But I did take the cartoon says to take the Broncos plus 10.5, and I'm doing it. Look, I know the Broncos can be absolutely brutal, but if you look at the numbers, Russell Wilson's played pretty tough in career against Kansas City. He in 4 games versus. By the way, I also like Russell Wilson over 19.5 rushing yards in 4 games career against Kansas City. He's gone over that number every time. And take away the Bears win for Kansas City. Their other 3 wins have been by a combined 18 points. Russell Wilson has 11 touchdowns. Now, say what you want about the Broncos, and they give up 70, and I know all this stuff, but Russell Wilson has 11 touchdowns, the 2 picks, more touchdown passes than Mahomes, less interceptions than Mahomes. In short week, I know the refs are always on Kansas City's side, but at 10.5, if you can get 10.5, grab 10.5. I'm taking the Broncos.
I'm clearly not taking this game because I'm waffling because I really dislike this. My dislike for Russell Wilson knows no bounds here.
And Kansas City's won the last 15 matchups.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. 49ers minus 6.5 at Browns. The Browns, with a great defense, are a 6.5-point home dog. That is incredible. Now, a lot of this has to do with Deshaun Watson probably being unlikely to play. I just think the 49ers are running too hot. The Browns' defense is legit. This is in Cleveland. 6.5 is too much. If you get it to 7, I'd love it. But I'm on the Browns here. Jason, where are you?
I know there's a lot going against this bet, but I just think Watson or not, Watson with that shoulder, I don't think he's going to play either. But the 49ers, and I like it a lot at minus 6.5. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I'd like to see Watson play in this game. Unfortunately, it seems like it's not since the line's gone up a point, especially weather's going to be in the 50s and rain in Cleveland on Sunday. But still, I mean, the San Francisco offense is a juggernaut. The defense is fantastic with Greenlaw and Fred Warner controlling the middle. But this team has scored 30-plus in every game so far. So how can you go against them? I'm taking the Niners.
All right, the Lions-Bucs, and what's not just this is a really good game in a lot of ways. The Bucs have been a surprise team this year. The Lions, the respect on the road, minus 3.5. That's where the Lions are, how well they've been playing. That's impressive. I've got a futures bet on the Bucs to miss the playoffs that I really need as part of a parlay. So I need the Bucs to cool down a little bit. So I'm really needing the Lions here. 3.5 scares me a little bit on the road. But sometimes that half point is put there just to scare you, just to fuck with you. And I'm going to go with the Lions here. I think they're running hot. I think they're better than the Bucs. A little nervous, the Bucs coming off a bye and all that, and this might be some bias creeping in. Where are you, Jason?
I'm not scared of no 3.5. Boys, what are we talking about? We're going to go in there and roll the scary Bucs. Fuck the Bucs. Give me the Lions minus 3.5. Minus 6.5. How about that? What do you got, Harry?
Wow, I like it. I like the confidence because, I was of course I'm taking the Lions, but I'm taking the Lions. But Baker has been pretty good, a lot more surprising than people would have thought. But good. I like the Graham was scaring me a little bit there, but Jay, you threw me off. You threw me off being scared there. Let's roll with the Lions. Restore the roar. Let's continue.
All right. I'll talk about alternative spreads, maybe. -6.5, -20. So you can get that somewhere.
Fake it till you make it.
All right.
Feels good.
Last game, Eagles -7 at the Jets. And I put this on here because I like the Eagles a lot. And I know they're, Jets defense is good, home dogs and all that stuff. But I do think the Jets are about to implode. Like, I think something's really – I just have this gut feeling that the Zach Wilson thing is going to implode, that there's going to be like some brouhaha on the sidelines between the offense and defense. And I just have a feeling the Eagles cover this line. Whatever it is, it's a gut feel. It's visceral. That's where I'm at, Jason. How about you?
So you think there's going to be a sideline brouhaha?
Yes.
And so that's why, okay. Well, I think Zach Wilson's gained a little bit of confidence. It's at home. Like you mentioned, the D. Give me the Jets and the 7. What do you got, Harry?
Nice win for the Jets last week, but Philly keeps rolling. I predicted them to go 8-0 at least to start the season like they did last year. They're on pace. Wilson, played decent 2 weeks ago, okay last week. But still, Jalen Hurts still can do whatever he wants, I think. He'll manufacture drives and put points on the board, and I think it's going to be too many points for the Jets to catch up to. I'm going to take the Eagles. I'm going to lay the points.
All right, I do not have I don't have a parlay this week because there's another stupid freaking international break in soccer. These are the worst. Can you imagine if the NFL 3 times in one fall was like, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to take the week off so everybody can go overseas and play for their country. I would sign up for for no World Cups ever again if we could stop with the international breaks. It's so stupid, and especially these right now where I wish the U.S. wasn't even playing. They should be resting their guys.
No World Cup? Deal.
Well, there you go.
Deal.
Just let's do the club season stuff. It's more fun. I mean, I understand there's European qualifiers and important games in Europe and stuff, but it is annoying as shit. So I don't really have.
So
anything.
After all that, there's no parlay. We have to sit through that.
I don't have anything I specifically love this week that I want to give people because otherwise they're just going to lose money on me.
I have a 2-leg parlay, boys. I want to throw by you. It's a gut feel. I saw these games as I was looking through. UMass plus 42 and a hook. UMass is god awful ass. I get that, but 42.5. James Franklin, and then Wyoming at Air Force. Getting 10.5. Wyoming, they hate Air Force. I know Air Force is 5.
Good, though.
I know, but Wyoming's run defense is not that bad. Air Force likes to run the ball a lot. I just like the 10. I don't think Wyoming wins that game, but I think you take the 10.5 there.
All right, I'll give you guys one as well. Just because I feel like I should. I'm not truly fully endorsing this, but if you want like an underdog parlay that I think could cash. Arizona football's been playing well. They're at Washington State. And if you parlay them on the money line, like plus 255 with Michigan State on the money line, plus 175, I think like that, what is that? Would pays about 50 pays about 400. Ooh. So that is a nice little payday for 2 results that I think could happen. And that would be my suggestion for the week. All right. Is there anything else you like, Harry?
You know what I do like? I like a 7-point teaser. I gave this out on Vision today with Michael Lombardi. I gave out the Dolphins. The Dolphins minus 6.5 against Carolina on a 7-point teaser. Got to win. All you got to do is win by a touchdown. I know the rookie's out for the Dolphins. That was a big hit for them, but still, you got Mostert. You still got the Hill. You got Waddle, and the offense is still clicking. And who knows how much Miami can score if they want to against Carolina, who still doesn't have a win on the season. So Miami just to win by a touchdown. With what we just mentioned, I do like the Eagles at a pick against the Jets. I just can't see. Now the Eagles got a 2-game lead in the division in the East. I think they continue there. No way Hurts loses to Zach Wilson. I think Eagles even and Miami to win by a touchdown is a 7-point teaser that's going to cash.
You are a beautiful man, Harry Gagnon.
By the way, Jason was. I need to let you know on Saturday he was clinging to the Brentford game. He was just clinging to it.
Yeah, Harry's texting
me up with updates. Hitting me up with updates.
Yeah, he was texting me about it. I'm like, does he know I'm not Graham or something? Does he have the wrong number? I was like, how do I politely tell Harry I don't give a shit?
I love it. Stay on him, Harry. We'll turn him. Stay on him for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
No doubt.
Thanks, Harry. We'll talk to you next week.
See you, man.
Awesome, guys. See you guys.
That's the great Harry Gagnon from Against All Odds with Cousin Sal and The Ringer. We've gotten some replies to our to Joe's appearance and his defense of Pat Narduzzi. Dominic writes, Graham for giving Joe's Pat Narduzzi take will be akin to D'Antonio for giving Dave Warner's 2018 offense. And the beat goes on. Fair enough. And also, David Jackson says that Narduzzi disqualified himself when he took shots through shade at MSU. And so maybe there's a little of that. I don't know. Pat Narduzzi's not happening. You don't have to worry about Pat Narduzzi. Urban Meyer is more likely to happen than Pat Narduzzi, if that makes you feel
Whoa, breaking
better.
news.
Yeah, we will
play that, Valeni.
We'll be back Thursday night with a Groovy Donut Twitter question show. We appreciate your listenership. We appreciate Front 43 and Cask and Company. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.